A $250,000 deposit, and they can't afford a home. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because we have a story which is becoming all the more familiar and quite frankly depressing and frustrating. A family with 250 grand. 250 grand are unable to buy a house. Now, let's look at a few things. We'll start off by just looking at, this is the capital city average for houses, as this website will load up. Come on, you can get there. There we go. We can see, whoa, over a million, 1.1 million. We jump down to Sydney, guys. We can see Sydney asking prices. We're sitting at 1.6 for all houses and 1.4 million for a 3-bedroom house, which is kind of what most people will want for a family. Makes a lot of sense. 3-bed, one for mum and dad, one for the kids, a little spare room for a home office or for family members to visit. $1.4 million. Now, a few other things we want to have a look at, guys. Wages. We'll jump here. I'll skip to economy. We'll have a look. Wages aren't really growing that much. We're all aware of that. And well, here's a chart that I think is quite concerning. This is showing you the different income levels for households. Lowest, medium, and high. Now, the high income households per week, we're talking over 2 grand. Middle income are about 900 a week, where the lowest, the adjusted lowest household income is about $433 a week. The median income on a per annum basis, that's bang, smack bang in the middle, is about 50 grand per year, while the average is 60. Now, I'm hoping, the family in this article are obviously earning a little bit more because they're in Sydney. But just think about that. How can someone, a normal family, will just be struggling? It's just a lost cause to get into housing, guys. Just a complete lost cause in Sydney. You know, the city isn't for you, everyone. This Sydney family has had to make a drastic move to give them a chance to make the property realities a dream. Hazel Cairns is bitter about the Sydney property market because despite a huge sacrifices to save a deposit of $250,000, her family of 3 are not able to buy a home. 250 grand ain't a small deposit, guys. It's a lot of work. In some parts, that's enough to buy an entire house. For previous generations, that would be enough to buy a house. The digital expert and her husband, who works for NRMA, have an 18-month-old daughter and chose to move in with Hazel's parents to boost their ability to save. But they are watched as house prices skyrocket and pushed first-home buyers like them out of the market. We were bitter. We were so mad. We worked our butts off and have always had full-time jobs, and I worked in the digital space and have also done freelance work on the side, and we've been saving for over 3 years now, she told news.com.au. We don't shy away from hard work, but when you're working so hard and looking at house prices going up and up and up, it makes you bitter. We are just like, it's ridiculous, it's a joke. In their shows like Luxury Listings Sydney on Amazon, and there are people worth billions buying property, and we're thinking, how is this fair? Well, knowing how many people suffer for the last 2 years, my husband and I don't want to watch, as it's depressing, it's infuriating. Why do people have that much money to spend on incredible homes that they barely live in? Well, that's just the way life is sometimes. You don't let it get to you too much. The 34-year-old said their property search was out in the Sutherland Shire looking for 4 bedrooms, 2-bathroom homes that needed some work. But houses were going for $1.8 million out in Illawong, which is not even close to the city, and the commute to work would mean sitting in traffic for an hour a day and back. And for $1.8 million, that's just ridiculous. $1.8 million bucks, so you get the privilege of sitting in traffic for an hour. How is our quality of life getting better here in Australia, guys? Seriously, how is it getting better? How are we the lucky country, everyone? If you look at previous generations, they had it. Sure, they had higher interest rates, but we saw that in a previous video. The amount of their salary that they had to devote towards just paying their housing costs was nothing. compared to this. What we're looking at here, guys, I'm just going to bring up a definition, is, well, housing stress in Australia. We're getting closer to it. It's typically described as a low-income family, and this couple obviously aren't a low-income family, spending more than 30% of their gross income on housing costs. We're going to see more and more of that. I can see how it's hopeless and frustrating. And, I mean, guys, the government, they look at home builder, juiced up, and look at building approvals, juiced up. They're throwing money at housing left, right, and centre. I feel like a broken record now. My brother-in-law and his wife were looking around $900,000 for houses in the Sutherland Shire too. And not in Cronulla, but in Mania and Illawong, and they couldn't find anything, and they were getting really depressed. They would go to auctions and barely get their hand up, so they were already out of the market before they could get anywhere. Miss Can said the soaring prices made it feel like you were working for nothing. When the pandemic hit and changed the way people could do their work, with a great emphasis on working from home, having a home that wasn't a shoebox also became important, she added. So the couple made the drastic decision to leave their family behind in Sydney and move to Brisbane, escaping just before the city was plunged into its latest lockdown. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting. You know what? A viewer left a really good comment here. Hang on. I'll find that. Here we go. From Debt and Regret. You know what? Let me just bring this up, because I think he frames this really well. Boom. So, Debt and Regret. I've been a housing bear for a long time, even while owning property. I live in southeast Queensland, and now I've come to the conclusion with the lockdowns in New South Wales and Victoria happening again, even more interstate buyers and investors will move up here. The Olympics will just add more reasons for these people to move up. Wait until international borders open up and the immigration floodgates will be pushing property prices even further. I hate to say it, Brisbane is going to go up. Even if they have a housing correction in Australia, I think Brisbane will be affected the least, as our house prices are relatively cheap compared to the other states. And I'm looking at acreage an hour from Brisbane. I honestly think housing affordability is only going to get worse. And Brian likes his comments. And, well, there you go, Debt and Regret. We're seeing an example right here of this happening. If we jump here, and let's compare property prices in Brisbane. We'll bring this up. Brisbane asking prices, what are we sitting at? $692,000 for all houses. 3-bedder, $603,000. So you get a 3-bedder here in Brisbane. Well, for the $1.4 million you're buying in Sydney, you get 2 houses in Brisbane and have some pocket change. You buy one, negative year it, so you don't need to pay tax. That's the Australian way. And just pay interest only and get that mortgage holiday, guys. Cha-ching. There you go. And this is the old story. This is what family members who have been around in the property game for years have said. Brisbane and Sydney start to peter off, and then, Sydney and Melbourne start to peter off, and then people start to flood into Brisbane. Miss Kansas' husband was able to relocate with his job at NRMA, while she has taken on the role of general manager at her sister's US-based loungewear and bedding company called Oddbird, which grew 800% during the pandemic. The couple are looking at 4 to 5 bedroom homes 10 minutes from Brisbane in suburbs like Camp Hill, Cannon Hill and Morningside, and can't believe the difference compared to their Sydney search. Well, yeah, I mean, you're going to get some really nice places there. The houses are gorgeous, they're big and roomy, and have kitchens with walk-in pantries, kitchen islands, and we're looking at 1.1 to 1.3. So it's significantly more affordable and offers a greater quality of life, especially if we're going to be working from home. We want to be comfortable and create a space that is a working space away from the living space, and we don't have that option in Sydney, she explained. And, well, to be completely biased, you've got a better quality of life here in Brisbane. The weather's going to be better. It's not as busy as Sydney. And you've got the beautiful river here. It is one of the more livable cities in Australia. I don't care what anyone says in Melbourne. So, where would you buy at that price range in Sydney that allows you to have those separate facets of life? To have some calm and stability and a bit of breakout between the two worlds that we have merged at home. Even renting while they're looking for their forever home is a huge difference to the tiny apartment with a mold problem they had in Sydney before moving in with her parents. They are paying $735 a week in Brisbane for a property with a backyard the size of some people's homes in Sydney, as well as 3-bedroom homes and two bathrooms. As well as, 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, she said. We don't need to take the dog to the park. We just throw the ball up and down in the backyard. There's a 2-story garage that has a mezzanine area, and it's so big that we don't have enough furniture to fill it, she said. For $735, you would never get that in Sydney, and it's 10 minutes from the city, so it's significantly different. Despite missing friends and family, Ms. Kant said the family is excited about the fresh start and the potential for a better quality of life with a bigger house and more space. I'm quite bitter about Sydney and feel quite jaded. Now you just need to start barracking for the Maroons. It shouldn't be allowed to be that expensive, and the government are pretty much knowingly saying that first home buyers can't get in the market, and I don't understand what's supposed to happen. It seems like a real joke, she added. They don't care. The governments have become addicted to the revenue they're getting from stamp duty. They need it now. They need that money. They plan to launch Oddball in Australia, including a retail store, warehouse space. This has also been a financial win, with prices much more affordable in Brisbane. Sydney's housing affordability has definitely become worse, and it's a continuing trend, according to Dr. Shane Geha, Managing Director of Property Group EG Advisory. Real estate prices have outstripped wage growth by a very long way in the last decade. Yep. If you're looking at a house, I'm 52, but when I was a child of 13 or 15, it was 3 times the average wage earned. Today it's closer to 12 or 13 times, he noted. In Sydney, the average house is around 1.3, average apartment is 800. And there are a multiplicity of fees and charges charged by local and state governments. Fees and charges account for around 30% of the price of a new dwelling, and it increases the price of new dwellings and lifts the price of alternatives such as existing dwellings. Taxes in particular are an enormous cost, he added, giving the example of an $800,000 brand new apartment in Epping attracts $240,000 in fees and charges. He argued that land taxes and stamp duty bring no immediate benefit to home buyers and should be abolished. I like this guy. Sounds good. Yes. Cheers to that. He predicted that housing will continue to climb in value by 10 to 15%, and that federal grants like the First Home Buyer Scheme should be doubled to at least $50,000 to reflect the reality of prices. This is written by Sarah Sharples from news.com.au. What do you all think, everyone? What do you reckon? It's not surprising, and it is definitely going to have an impact on property here in Brisbane. I mean, good luck to the young family coming here, getting the opportunities, but you can't blame them. You can't blame them at all. What's the solution? How do we get off this housing addiction that we have here in this country? It's crazy. I mean, what are we looking at here? Property prices overall have just been climbing up. We've had a correction. Maybe Sydney and Melbourne might start to peter down a bit. Maybe just moving to another city is the solution for some people. Maybe that's what you need to do. Brisbane, you can get stuff. $700,000. You go a bit further out, you get it even cheaper, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one in the comments down below. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Sign up for SelfWealth or Stake. Use our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Buy a merge from HeiseSays. Use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.